against the law and against their culture to bring alcoholic beverages ashore, and they just don't do it. But the Aboriginals really have a tough time with any kind of alcoholic beverage. We're in a village and missionaries have arrived, and I don't know that it's done them much good, although they do attend schools, religious schools, at the age of about 8 or 10. I don't know that they enjoy it. This is a town of, I think it's Goulburn, and we're working on a Land Rover here. It's the town vehicle. Got a generator. Village hut. It's the village water supply. See that telephone antenna in the background? Several hundred people live in this area. I didn't mention it, but this project, and that's why we have the generator, is to build that building, which is the first head going into this little village. And big event. The Australian government, of course, pays for that. The Aboriginals are all paid a stipend, which is the result of which is that none of them have to work. And none of them use bathrooms until they put these things in. Not fancy, but one of the problems is getting them to use it and just not use the bush. What's your name? 18. 18. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I'm good to meet you. My name is Jim. Good to meet you. I think I mentioned it when I talked about the missionaries, but this is the village church. And as I took a shot a minute ago, I don't think I pointed that out. Not a whole lot of people here. A lot nicer without the generator. He'll be finished today. All for now. Turtle shell. I haven't taken pictures, but we see an awful lot of sea turtles. They're illegal, except that the Aboriginals are allowed to kill them, and this was lunch for a bunch. I'll turn it over and get a look at it. It's a good size. Hard to tell, but that's about 3.5 feet from one end to the other, and they're plentiful. Lots of berries in the woods, wild dogs, but mostly fish is what they live on here. Well, it's another Aboriginal village, another church, and there is a group of Aboriginals under the tree, and these guys kind of look like an invasion of inflatables. As swing around, you can see the Aboriginal town with an Aboriginal water tank. If I come back a little bit, there's the Aboriginal telephone. And that's an Aboriginal penny. And an Aboriginal Sioux. With an Aboriginal hat. Enough of Aboriginal. Well, we're still on the over the top. We left an island called Goulburn, which was really lovely, but we didn't have this camera ashore. One of the prettiest we've been on. And this is kind of an unofficial race with a bunch of boats. We have, I think I've mentioned in the past, about 23 boats, most of them Aussies. And we're all having a good time. Magnificent day. Got to zero in on this guy. That's Roland and Marlis, and we've been sailing with them for many thousands of miles, probably now about 15,000. Met them in the Caribbean, and they've got everything up. Thank God we're just eking ahead of them. Beautiful boat. That's an Amel 52. And then astern, and we do seem to be sailing through the fleet here, thank God. See if I can zero in on Caviar here. A couple from Australia headed for Indonesia with us. Most of us are going to do the Darwin Ambon Race. The wind's a little fluky. It's a young Australian. Young is in 40s now. Couple. Going to take a couple of years cruising, end up in the Med. We'll probably see a lot of them. That's La Donnée. German couple, Horst and Traudel. They too are headed to the Darwin Ambon, and they'll do the Red Sea as well, probably. Focusing's a little tough here. I'm afraid that Pete's going to mess us up, and I can't tell who that is through the glasses. We were almost the last ones to leave, and we are now passing through the fleet, which makes us feel pretty good. Always a little nerve-wracking with this shoot, though, with just two of us. We're getting a little better at it, but it usually goes up with a twist, comes down with a twist, and the sock doesn't work too well. Nerve-wracking, but worth the effort. Well, we'll get back to you soon. I wish every day was like this. Yesterday we did about 170 miles overnight, and people kind of rested. We had a barbecue on the beach again. Quite nice. Can't complain about this at all. I don't know who that is with that star-cut chute ahead of La Donnée. Hope we catch him. No, way out is the rest of the fleet. They left a few hours ahead of us. We've probably got 35 miles to go today. And if the weather holds, I think we can catch most of these boats fairly readily. Hope so. Okay, I guess that's about it for now. More later. To get another shot of that Amel, maybe we'll sell this little bit of footage to Amel, but if not, we'll give it to Roland and Marlis. We've had about 5 straight nights of beach parties, and I think somebody put salt, or rather sand, in the salt shakers. Every time we have a barbecue, it's half sand. It's pitch black by the time we cook the meat. And Sue has gotten a little bit tired of it, but it sure is a lot of fun. Sit around the fire until fairly late singing and really just kind of having a good time. Hope we get some shots of something like that later tonight. Still kind of moving past the fleet. This is Bill and Alicia on Pagaso. They too will be going up the Red Sea. And Dick and Penny on Grey Eagle, that brings back memories. Valiant 40 was what we had for many years. We loved it. Spent a lot of time cruising with these guys as well. Guess we'll spend the next 6 to 8 months doing the same. Well, it's not always like this. Looks like nobody minding the store here. We've got the autopilot on. Chute looks docile for a while. Nice wind speed, direction. And life doesn't get much better. Well, we're now outside of Darwin. Made it to Darwin, and we'll talk about it later. Getting ready for the Ambon Race, but more important, we're in an Australian National Park, Litchfield, and doing a day tour on a 4-wheel drive vehicle. And this is quite an attractive park. Great swimming holes, pretty falls. Water's a bit cold, and I think we'll pass it by, but go for a swim in the next spot. Yeah, this is very pretty. We wanted to spend 4 days visiting national parks and in the bush, but we've had so much to do on the boat to get ready for the Darwin Ambon Race. I'm kind of balanced on a rock here, so I'm wobbling a bit, that we've been frantic. Then it was down to 3, then 2 days with 1 overnight, and now we're at 1 day in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, and we'll pack as much in as we can. So far it's been a good day. I'm going to get a shot of a lizard, and he's about 5 feet. He's about 5 feet long. Now I've lost him. There he goes. They run pretty fast. And they're carnivorous. And I'd like not to meet one. He's maybe 6 feet. They apparently eat rats and rabbits and wallaby. He's good size. I think I'll get out of his way if he comes back. Yeah, but he'd have to eat a few million bugs to... Just another angle of the Wangi Falls. They're really quite spectacular and pretty cool. So we're not going to jump in ourselves, but later on today we're going to hit another set of falls and do some swimming there. Right into the sun here, so I'm not sure how well this is going to come out. I don't think I'd want to jump from the top. Everything's done in a big way in Australia. Even the spiders have big networks. I think there's 6 of them here. I came across somebody yesterday that had a ranch that was 1,800,000 acres. We haven't figured it out, but somebody was working on the number of square miles, and the ranch exceeded the size of Delaware and Rhode Island together.
So I'd like this thing here. If you look at this setup here, what that bit of tin there is a rolled out 44-gallon drum. And yeah, they were here until about the mid-1950s. Pretty tough people apparently. In the history books, apparently a couple of Japanese planes came down around this area in World War II because, you know, fighter bases up to there and what have you. And one of the actual Japanese pilots was found, he survived the plane crash and came with a bullet hole through the head. Apparently these guys here, the sergeant boys, had ridden out, seen him still alive. Look at those yards over there, that's where they used to keep their horses. Apparently only just eked out a living, did a bit of prospecting as well, got a bit of gold, a bit of tin. But yeah, cleared out in the 50s. And
this is the way we're traveling. Got about 5 of us in this hell of a vehicle. 4-wheel drive diesel. The exhaust comes up through the roof, goes up through 4 feet of water, and God, it seems to go up and down and through anything you can imagine. Quite comfortable, just amazing. A bunch of these. Toyota makes the bed. Good sized Toyota diesel, and then the body and rest of the frame is made in Australia. Yeah, they're about 125,000 Australia, so maybe 90,000 US. These are called magnetics. They're termite mounds. They're a little different color, darker gray. And the reason they're called magnetics as I pan around is that they always face north and south. I haven't been able to figure out why, but as you can see as I pan, it looks like a graveyard. They're shaped like big tombstones. To put it in perspective, these run up to about 8 feet. And it's back to these termite mounds. They face north and south because of the heat. The sun rises and sets, and these are aligned accordingly. They call them termites, but they don't really eat mud. I mean, they don't really eat wood. They live on grass. And these are communities that are connected underground. They're anywhere from 30 to 70 years old. And if you feel them, they're just like a big chunk of granite. They go go underground about half their height. They're all connected. They're like graveyards here. The thing, though, about this area, we're in the midst of the dry season in the Northern Territory now. In the wet season, and right now it's July, 6 months from now, you could not drive through here. And the muck and mud covers about half the height of these mounds, which is 3 feet or so. This whole area just floods, and you just can't drive even a 4-wheel vehicle through here. Well, we're at Taronga Falls now, and it's cold swimming, but a beautiful spot. And a couple of people went swimming, or are swimming down here. I don't know whether I can zoom in on them. Yeah. We had to hike about a mile and a half to get into this spot. Quite an undertow there, they told us, so you got to be very careful. Sue's going to do a swim. Water's pretty damn cold. I'm not sure whether I will or not. I'll see if I can catch a picture of her. I have to look without this. And she's doing fine. Keep an eye on her. Enough of that. Coming back.
Water's running down here, swimming in the water there. I have to swim the last fall. I've been to 3 before. These are a series of pools. Pretty neat. You can see on down there. They just keep going, more and more pools. I stand up. Now you can sort of see, but they just keep on rolling down there. Lovely spot.
We're going to do a little bit of a canoe ride and watch the sunset. No, we need to see a little more water, but I'm afraid to take the camera into the canoe because people are saying they're wet. And maybe we've missed the sunset anyway, I can't tell. Pretty spot. What's the name of this lake, Sue? Do you know?
Bantam.
Huh?
Bantam?
Bantam Lake. Okay. Good enough for me. All right.
All right, come on. Go, mister.
We're gone. We're gone. I ought to try the fade button here. I didn't find it. There it is. An Ambon Race. We've had a frantic couple of weeks in Darwin trying to get ready. The Darwin Race is a little bit like the Marion Bermuda Race, roughly 600 some odd miles, 78 boats. Looks a little empty here. Sue's catching some leaves. We just did the first night of about a 4 to 5 day trip. I think we'll do it in 4. Doesn't look like it, but we're clipping along here pretty well. If I can swing around and keep the camera dry, we're doing about 7.5, probably 8 knots. Get everything up and about 20 knots of breeze. I'll shift it and see if I can get around without getting the camera too wet. lights on, so I'm not sure these pictures are going to come out. In any event, we're doing a good 8.5 knots right now. With a staysail up and a 140 and a full main. And relatively flat seas, although it doesn't look like it holds this camera too well. We're toward the front of the pack. We're in what they call the rally position. And looks like we're doing pretty well. They have a special division for just those boats that only have a crew of 2. And we get penalized, but we can use the engine. See if I can catch Picasso, 62-foot C&C. I guess we're too far out of it. Gorgeous conditions. Probably ought to put a reef in the main. I think I'll wait till through the lake. And report later. Everything's under control. As usual, we'll be glad to get there. Indonesia's promised to be an interesting spot. Ambon is not as civilized as a few other places, but fairly nice and a port of entry. And that's where the race ends. Hope we don't come in at night. A lot of bumping around here, I'm sorry. Well, tell you what, we'll check in later. I think I got to do a little work here. Show we've been doing on a GPS repeater, which is just at the pedestal between 9.5 and 10 knots. I can't use the camera and see that at the same time. We've got about 21 to 22 knots. We spent most of yesterday with a shoot up, which pulled us ahead of our class a bit. Then the wind died, and then it came up pretty well last night. So no complaints. This is our kind of breeze, and it looks like we're going to do pretty well in this rally. But we're only one day into it. God knows. I think we just hope we hold up and the boat holds up. The boat will hold up. Okay, all for now. Hope to talk to you later. Maybe we can get some other boats, but like the Bermuda race, there's never anybody around once you get over the line a few miles in. Be back later. Well, we're in Ambon, Indonesia. And we finished the race. We had 77 boats. We came in about 11th overall. In our class, we don't know how we did, but pretty well, I think. Try to get up high and get a shot of the crowd here. There will be a lot of action tonight. Boats still coming in, about half of us here. The town is sort of decked out for us. And that's a hotel. I got it coming around to the hotel. It may not be a 4-star. We were in there to check through customs and it looked a little rough. They charge 300 rupees for some water or to use a toilet. And you can't drink the water. And the toilets look pretty rough. You wouldn't use them. In any event, a rupee is not worth a whole lot, about 20 cents. This race was about 600 miles and took us about, let's see, we averaged almost 180 miles a day, so we were cooking pretty well. Pretty area, obviously a third world country. We haven't really explored much, but we'll get some more pictures in a little while. See what it looks like. I think it ought to be pretty interesting. Tough finish. Hardly a Bermuda Race organization. Came through this line here at night. Can't see the start, but boats are still coming in. Or rather the finish. And you had to come down into the harbor about 6-7 miles. A lot of fishing boats along that side. You can't see them from here. Quite cloudy and low clouds, so the radar didn't work too well. And with the Jenny, visibility was tough. No, it was stressful. But it worked out. The boat that won was Australia made. Pretty serious. They worked at it pretty hard. Generally these boats are rougher than what we'd see in a Marion Bermuda race. They get much more wind in these areas, and you can see that they're not cream puffs. Good sailors, big time tonight. Endurance 2 is owned by a friend that owns a refrigeration supply house. Got to know him because we were doing some work in Darwin on our refrigeration. Enigma is a Swiss fellow who became an Australian citizen, ran the aluminium works in Gove. We got to know him quite well, did the over-the-top rally with him. Just a number of people along this end that we got to know real well. As we pan around our good friends Roland and Marlis on Flying Free, they're taking a nap. Most of us were up most of the night. It was a bit of a bear trying to tie up here at night. No help. Deep harbor, very safe, and the beginning of our cruise through Indonesia. So we'll come up with more later and quit for now. These kids with their dugouts, they handle them beautifully. And it's just almost no freeboard. Sometimes you see 4 and 5 large people in there and an inch of freeboard. And they just come up and talk, and we don't know what they say and they don't know what we say, but they're certainly friendly. We're the same. Endurance is going to be in rough shape tonight. I should say in rough shape tomorrow, good shape tonight. They've anchored for about 8 hours. Had a lot of trouble. Well, we're in Ambon, and they're getting ready for a canoe race. And they really are good. Good deal better than Papeete, as a matter of fact. A lot of spirit. They just stopped the drums. It's just practice getting ready to get to the line. We do everything with drums. Wish we were closer. We're all headed out to a dive expedition, and we'll be 2 in each of these dugouts.
Ayo. Ayo.
Ayo.
Ayo.
Ayo.
Ayo. Jalan.
And we're in a village north of the city of Ambon, fairly remote. And the only way to this spot, very friendly groups in here, is by Dugout Canoe, which we're about to try. Hope we don't get all the cameras wet. Pretty little village and cute children, very friendly. Getting ready, and I hope I'm not holding up the group, but we can get 2 in each of these. And we won't be doing, we'll just be doing some snorkeling this time, not diving. That's Marlis and Rob and Susan from a boat called Caviar. Marlis is Flying Free. And my Sue, someplace here. Yeah, they're getting ready to go. I think they're going to make it. Yeah, I think these little dugouts are gorgeous, John, you know? And it's amazing how they just paddle them upwind and then roll down. Oh, there's a group ahead, and we're catching them. Serious discussion going on over there.